and welcome to the podcast. I'm super happy to be back after a few months break, and I have a very special guest. She's played a big part in my journey for the past few years, and she's been on the podcast before. Welcome, Marguerite Mary Rigoglioso. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, Shireen.
I'm super excited to have you here, and I've been just immersed in your new beautiful book. Don't have words to describe it, but it's really amazing. I read your book that we also spoke about in our last, I think, no, the first episode we did together. The Secret Life of Mother. No, it was the Miraculous Conception, the Mystery
Yeah.
Tradition of Miraculous Conception, and your new book is The Secret Life of Mother Mary. So I'm very excited to talk about that, and I just want to give a background for those of you who haven't listened to our podcast before or haven't met Marguerite yet. Marguerite has a PhD and is the founder of Seven Sisters Mystery School, a world-renowned teacher of sacred knowledge and the foremost authority on the history of virgin birth. A trusted mentor to people on healing and spiritual path, she draws on her decades-long research and experiences with Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene to help uncover their hidden timeless teachings and apply them to our present-day needs. The award-winning Marguerite, an author of several books, which includes the one that we just spoke about, The Secret Life of Mother Mary, Divine Feminine Power for Personal Healing and Planetary Awakening, which we will speak about today. But you also did The Mystery Tradition of Miraculous Conception, which I have here, and also you've done so much academically as well, and so many great courses and mentorships, and you are so special, Marguerite, and I'm saying that truly from the bottom of my heart. I've never met you in person, but you are always around me with your beautiful voice. I listen to all your podcast episodes and interviews that you do, and now I've been listening to your book, and I'm just so grateful for your work. You are even more special than you would ever maybe think of yourself. You do amazing work, so thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for that glowing appreciation. It feels good to have that reflected, because we do this work, we put things out in the world, and you don't really know what's happening for people. So it's very meaningful when I hear that this is, um, so meaningful to you, really.
It is, and so different, I would say also. And I think you are definitely the one that I feel I think it was in my beginning journey with Mary, and like finding that guidance and comfort through her. Your work really helped that. Even before I read your book, it was everything leading up to, and the years have passed, and this book I feel is incredible. I don't know where to start, but I want to ask you, um, what was the process that led you up to writing this book? I know, because it feels like this is like a deepening of the first book, which I also highly recommend. It feels like you're going even deeper. And I was reflecting just today when I was listening that it feels like it is so well founded in different type of scriptures, your oracle knowing, but it feels like you're bringing out something that I don't think we've heard before. So it's really unique, and no one has, that I know, brought up this angle and this focus that you have.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Well, scholars have talked about Mother Mary for decades, obviously, but their work is so generally academically focused and written. and they have the concerns of scholars, that, and not the concerns of, spiritual people, really. um, that it's all been sort of hidden away. And I also think there's been a kind of a divine timing to all of this. There's some rung of the spiral that we've turned into now. Maybe it's the moving into the age of Aquarius or what have you, but um, Mary Magdalene went first. She was revealed. She's been revealed over the last 40 years with the scholarship and the oracle material that's been coming out. And now, finally, I believe with this book, The Secret Life of Mother Mary, and really the previous one, like you said, we're starting to understand Mother Mary in a way that, conscious spiritual people can really appreciate. And it's an amazing revelation what's going on with her. I've taken all these threads of various gospels, most of which have been suppressed. They are not considered official by the Catholic Church. And I've taken these other scholarly books and approaches and things, and I've wound them together and put them in language that I think people can appreciate, understand. I started out as an academic too, but I had to really change my writing style so that people could hear it and could read it. And I'm gratified to hear that people can read my book my two books in 2 days each, something like that. I mean, what got me started on the path is about writing this book.
Yeah.
So this particular book really was parthenogenetically born out of the previous book. Like when I was writing what became the mystery tradition of miraculous conception, I really was writing both of these books. And one of them, I realized that this material for The Secret Life of Mother Mary had to kind of hive off and be its own thing so that people wouldn't get overwhelmed. I didn't want to give people too much information at one time. So really, I started writing these two books 4 years ago as of this recording, but I had been gathering the material going back to the early 2000s, so it's been like 24, 25 years that I've been holding on to this material. Really, I've been teaching it in other formats through academic classes that I've run in various universities and grad schools, and then through Seven Sisters Mystery School. So the spark of it really goes much farther back to a few decades ago when I started having my awakening to the sacred feminine. And there were various things that led to that awakening. But when I started discovering that there was a sacred feminine, that there is a sacred feminine, that there shall be a sacred feminine, I really started, coming alive. And it made sense of a lot of things that I'd been experiencing and kind of intuiting. And it's been both a personal experience and an academic experience at the same time.
I love that. That's what it makes it so unique, and you put in different perspectives that I think when the academic might be much more in silos, in like you're in a tunnel and focusing on one aspect, but you're not getting like the holistic view when you're drawing upon different traditions as well, and you're looking at like the academic side but also bringing in gospels that are I feel like through reading the book you do get this, it's very grounded in what is there and what is like written out, and then you bring in the intuitive oracle aspect, because there's been many, and I love the way you speak about like different timelines and different realities, because that makes it also much more inclusive. And what I loved and what we spoke about was how you presented Mary, because we have she's in our mind always been like programmed as the archetype of the mother and nothing else, and a passive receptor. And you bring out her different roles, which I love, which it that's some of the intuitive messages that I got, especially 2 years ago when visiting a Black Madonna in Spain, in Mallorca. What she said, and it was that it is heard that it is this feminine that births the masculine, and then it's like a cycle. And I love how you bring up her important role in the beginning of Christian history, and even to bring forth what you call an avatar like Jesus.
Yeah.
So I would love to tap into like these different roles that we don't, those archetypes, we have to like reprogram her as
Yes.
just this mother.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty serious spell that has been cast over the image of Mother Mary. She has been hijacked and she has been spun almost like a Hollywood star that is presented in a certain way, right? But what I'm showing is from all of the hidden pieces that are written about her, what actually was said, both close to the time that she lived, like within a couple of 100 years, as well as on, centuries later. And it seems that people were these biographers of her were working with materials that are actually now lost. So we have some of these original pieces and fragments, but there were actually probably more things that were suppressed, burned, what have you, because it was an inconvenient image of Mother Mary that was being, truthfully revealed. And that was inconvenient to the patriarchs that were crafting Christianity in, the 400s, the 500s, and so forth, when they laid down doctrine. And the whole purpose of The Secret Life of Mother Mary is to show the multiplicity of roles that she had, that she was not only a mother and a divinely one capable of divine conception. So she was into high level womb magic, but she was a teacher of Jesus. She was a teacher of Magdalene. She was the head of the entire Christian early, if we're going to call it Christian, but then it would have been kind of like a mystical Gnostic kind of spirituality. She was the head of that whole group after the crucifixion as well. And she was able to remove negative spirits from people. She was able to do healings in person and remotely. She was a mentor to all of these apostles and disciples who she would give information to from Jesus, from the angelic realms. It was said that she had a book that was given to her by the angels, meaning that she probably channeled it. She probably knew how to write, and she gave it to especially the female apostles. She had them go far and wide, as far as they could travel, and then come back to her for kind of like, supervision or mentorship. So she was also a stepmother of children by Joseph, who became her guardian and companion. And obviously a mother-in-law to Mary Magdalene, if we accept that Mary Magdalene and Jesus were partners and possibly betrothed. So that's a much different picture than we are given of the very limited, narrow, reduced image of this passive female who kind of is just always seen as a girl, basically, in Christianity, with a cloak and her eyes downcast. And no, that's not who Mother Mary was, because that image keeps us down. It keeps us down as women. It keeps us down as people. And so as we get this new image of Mother Mary, then we can raise ourselves up to our true powers on every level.
Definitely. Yeah, I love that. And that there's different aspects of her. So because we go through, it's kind of like going through, even in these old tantric traditions where there's like the 10 faces of the goddess, the Mahavidyas. So there's many different forms, and throughout life we go through these different forms. We can almost have many lives within one. and what type of roles we play, it's different. So just seeing like one image of her might, since it does affect us collectively, to have stories and mythologies do shape us, and we become like you did this beautiful talk with William Henry, who also points, I love his work as well, and the way he
Yes.
works with art. Just
Yes,
that, how we look at art and we become that.
that's right. That's right. And there was something else that was coming to me as you were speaking.
Yeah.
What a lot of what we're left with Mother Mary, given the hijack by the authorities of her image, is someone who is only a mother figure to us, and it infantilizes us. It puts us in the perpetual um, position of child, of supplicant, of that kind of thing. Yes, that is one way in which we can be in relationship with her. And I am every other day. I'm
Mm.
calling on her to help me and mother me and comfort me and so forth. But all the other aspects are stripped out. So, but we need to know that she is a high level spiritual master, that she has many more things to offer us than simply remothering or comforting, which, yes, is very important. And I write about that in The Secret Life of Mother Mary. But she had so much mystery understanding, mystical, esoteric understanding that could be applied practically into the world. And she was a master in the realm of love and compassion, and the practical aspects of that. So there are many ways we can call upon her. She's like a jewel of many, many facets, and we can focus on one or several of the facets at any given time to support us in our lives. Because what I receive is that that's what these beings came to Earth for, and that's what they are remaining available for, is our healing and our spiritual awakening and
Mm.
our liberation as a planet from negative forces.
Yeah, and that's so important. It's very empowering. And I wanted to share something with you because you do get into the names and what Mary, because since we see so many Marys everywhere, or Maryam or Miriam,
Yes.
in these, and then you go deeply into, and also in a talk in your YouTube channel, you went through like the whole, for your course that you also do. What was the course called?
Yes, the Mary and Magdalene priestess training.
Yeah, I love that one. I will link to that as well. And you speak
Yes.
about their names. And the one thing came up which I wanted to share with you, because you are drawing upon like different languages. And what I love about the book is that you also bring in the indigenous stories of this woman that has, was it the peacemaker and the conception of the peacemaker?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
In the Haudenosaunee tradition,
yeah.
Gahedasuk, the mother
Mm,
of the peacemaker, who was the miraculously born leader of the 5 and 6 nation Iroquois or Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and her name
mm.
was Gahedasuk. And then her mother supported her in the wilderness, conceiving and giving birth to this being, who then went with Hiawatha or Hiawatha, depending on how you want to name him, and brought unity and peace among these warring tribes.
And it's so beautiful that you bring that up, and also the connection back, because some people might be scared of Mother Mary. They instantly think about Christianity, but they don't know. And I think, like most Muslims, don't know either until you actually read the Quran, that there is a surah just for her.
It's
Uh,
amazing. Almost
yeah,
more is said there than in the Christian Bible.
yeah, and I actually played that surah for my grandmother when she was on, like, just passing, because I put it like right next to her.
What
She
a
was
beautiful thing.
a faithful Muslim, and I
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to share, and also for because the audience knows that I have my Kurdish background and my healing oracle cards are inspired by our indigenous symbols, and I have the snake in there a lot, and the snake is so connected with divine feminine. And when you were speaking in the book, or writing in the book about the name and Mar, which can in some languages is the sea, right?
Yes.
Well, Mar in Kurdish is snake or serpent.
Oh, I love that.
So there, I was just like that light something up for me. And it's not only in Kurdish, there's a lot of Indo-European languages that have that. It stems back to Sanskrit. And I think that there might be something there. I would love to investigate that. But you have spoken a lot about her name and the different sources. Maybe you can share that, because I think
Yeah.
most of us don't know where our names, like what names really mean.
That's right. You know, it goes back to sort of the primordial language of vibration, you know, that contains all meaning and transmissions of immense intelligence. But if we look specifically at the word Mary, it's the anglicized version of Maria, which is the Greek version of Maryam or Miriam,
Mm,
which is the Hebrew version based on the word Mary in Egyptian.
mm,
And Mary was a term that meant divine love. It was related to, it was always connected with the deities, and it meant that you were beloved of the deity, that you were lover of the deity, and that in some senses you were love itself.
mm,
So it was used as an epithet or a title that some of these high priests and priestesses would take on. So this Mary term is an ancient word that basically meant divine love, divine lover, divine beloved, and it is the root of the female name Miriam, Mariam, Maria,
mm,
Mary. And so all of that plus more is encoded into this name that remains with us. So it wasn't even originally a personal name. It
mm,
became a personal name, but it was a title. And I love how in these various languages, aspects of it come to be related to mer or mare, which
mm,
is, you know, sea, as you're saying, you know, and other things. And I love this in the Kurdish that it has a meaning of the serpent, right? And
mm,
that would be the serpent of wisdom,
mm.
essentially, in a positive, seen in a positive way, right? So there's so much that's encoded in there, as there is so much encoded in the Magdalene name,
Mm. Yeah.
right? We could go into that if you wanted, or,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
let's
know,
go into that, because they go so much I love how you weave them together as not separate, but two very like strong faces of the divine feminine. So I would
yeah,
love to tap
yeah.
into that.
Well, the Mary energy is the love, compassion, and the womb wisdom,
Yeah.
because the creations of the womb are also based in love, right? So that's at the core of the mother. The Magdalene name, people typically think that it means of Magdala, or that this
Yeah.
woman was this particular Mary, another Mary, a high holy woman, was of from Magdala. Well, if you really bore down into it, the latest scholarship is showing that is not the case at all. That it really was a title for her, just the way that Kepha or Peter or Petra was the name for Shimon originally. It was Shimon, and he became Peter,
Mm,
meaning the rock.
mm,
And James, Jesus' like stepbrother from his father's previous alliance, became the just, right?
mm,
And so Mary, this Mary, who was the student of Jesus, became Magdalene, which means essentially when you break it down, the magnified guardian watcher of humanity, or watchtower of humanity,
Mm.
who is also, yeah. And Miriam also has the connotation of being somewhat rebellious, or against the grain of the common, what is. So these were revolutionary women who were based in love, and they were based in a positive watching of humanity and availability as the tower to help us go from the earth plane to the higher planes within this lifetime and after this lifetime. And that's a different image than the watchers of the Bible and other gospel, other texts, where these watchers are essentially negative. They are feeding off of humanity. They are interbreeding with us in a violation of cosmic law. And then they are kind of taking over the planet through that interbreeding. And that's what we've been dealing with. And that's what that sacred alliance came to the planet to deal with.
Mm.
Right.
That's,
So it goes very deeply,
yeah.
much more deeply. But the thing is about this, Shireen, is it unifies not only it unifies so many stories and understandings and traditions that seemed like they were worlds apart.
Mm.
Unifies the Gnostic, Jewish, Egyptian, ancient Greek all together.
Mm.
It unifies what was going on then with even the most esoteric oracle information that's going on now of whistleblowers and other oracles and so forth. It unifies humans with the realm of the Fae and the realm of nature, because these Marys are really the same energy as the fairy energies.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there are many, many things that come into unity when we start really looking at the deeper levels of who Mother Mary is, who Mary Magdalene is, who Jesus is, and who all of these people who had incarnations at that time were, and are.
Mm. Yeah, it's really, I really love that you bring in Mary Magdalene, and also I've also always seen that triangle of them three together somehow. It feels like a very natural
That's
triangle.
right. That's right. That's one triangle.
Yeah.
Then there's another triangle of Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and Mother Mary's sister,
Yeah.
Mary Parugita, who was originally named Parugita, or Little Hen, who was a Mary. They always walked with Jesus according to the Gospel of Philip.
Mm.
Can you imagine these three women in their sandals and white garments, just walking or riding donkeys or whatever they were doing to move around? Um, and so they were supporting him in his ministry as the Shiva energy, here to bring like a strong lightning bolt to the earth. But they all had their own ministries,
Mm.
really, especially after the crucifixion. And one thing we have not discussed is Mother Mary's role in resurrecting Jesus.
Mm. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Energetic- Yeah, the
Yeah.
energetics, according to the late Hindu saint Sri Kaleshwar, which I write about extensively in The Secret Life of Mother Mary,
Yeah.
revealing that she used womb power, mantras, and other yogas that she had perfected after the crucifixion to take his broken body and revivify his soul. And Sri Kaleshwar kind of implies that she actually revivified his body, like brought him back to life like Lazarus, and that he then went on to appear to his disciples, and then he went on to India ultimately.
Mm.
Whether you feel that she resurrected his soul for activity on the other side of the veil, or whether she resurrected him body and soul for continued activity on the earth plane, is up to you. One way or another, there was a resurrection, and she was responsible for it. He would
Mm.
not have been able to do that alone. And it really wasn't about the father doing that. It was about the mother energy doing that, according to Kaleshwar. And that's, again, the timeline that I find medicine in. That's the one I'm working with,
Mm,
because everything in these sources is saying a lot about Jesus is referring to the Father, the Father, the Father. But Sri Kaleshwar says that Jesus' primary teacher, primary soulmate, primary supporter before, during, and after his birth and resurrection was Mother Mary. That
mm,
he would consult her and pray to her, and that they had an amazing relationship. And so the only we only get little hints of that, but there's an interesting biography about her called The Life of the Virgin, by somebody who might be Maximus, one of an early clergy person, who says the same thing.
mm.
And so it's not just Sri Kaleshwar making this stuff up, in India. I mean, it's like basically Maximus, if we whoever the author is of The Life of the Virgin, um, tells us that they were extremely close
Mm.
all during his life, and they really relied on one another, and that Mother Mary was his first and primary teacher. And so when you find some verification even in these um, Catholic kind of writings that, looked at from one angle, look so like they're totally in the dogma of the whole thing, but then when you compare it with what Sri Kaleshwar is saying, it's you see it in a new light.
Yeah, that's what I love in your book, that you're finding like these connections. That must have taken a lot of work. And I, when you were speaking about like how important his mother was to him, if we look in most cultures, mothers are like in the center of raising kids, like being role models. It's always like been like that, and I can see that in our traditions as well. And something that popped up, and because I haven't read this myself, so I'm just paraphrasing, but in the Quran it says that paradise is like by the mother's feet. That's one thing that is very like connected to the. And then when the prophet was asked like who, I've only heard this, I can't read Arabic, but it was something like, who should one take care of? And the answer is first like the mother, the mother, the mother, three times, and then father, and then
Yeah.
and thinking about that also, the different in Sufism, when they chant the different names of God, there's this like feminine names and the masculine names because it's a gendered language. But then we have like indigenous like more languages who are earth based. I don't know how to explain it, but like in Kurdish, I've said that before, maybe we don't have any genders, we don't even
Yeah.
have he or she, and there's no like personification of the divine either. We would never say he, she, or they. That's not how because it's so abstract, but it's so clear. I love that you bring that out. How can you not believe that his like what a focal point. I mean, she, it's kind of like when women who have children and grown this life within them, it's own like it becomes like an extension of that body. It's like two lives, or one life in two bodies. So of course they must have had like, and I loved like how Sri Kaleshwar speaks about our connection to our mother's womb chakra and all of that. It's so beautiful, and that you weave it into the book, because then you get like the Hindu perspective on like mother divine and all of that.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I mean, according to Kaleshwar, she was teaching him in the womb.
Mm.
She, through everything, she would be speaking with him, she would be doing her mantras and her yantra drawings, and conveying all of this esoteric information to him while he was in utero. So, it started before his conception, and then his conception was a major lightning bolt, for her and on the planet. And then once he was growing in her womb, she continued all of her meditation practices and speaking with Mother Divine and the angels every day. So these are the kinds of things that are coming out now
Mm,
about what people are revealing, what people are receiving about Mother Mary.
mm. And how do you think that this new, like, it's not new, but something that must come up now? Why is it important for the collective that we tap into this knowledge now?
You know, it's so important because we are in the phase of the reclaiming of the mother. We
Mm,
absolutely must be in that. We have been in a dark period where the yang, or the out of control masculine energy, has been running amok. And that's not to say that it's all men's fault, because every human has been overtaken by these forces that the Holy Family was talking about and, helping us with, and still is. And they just happen to kind of go in and skew the masculine energy or the yang energy in a certain kind of way, suppress the feminine or female or goddess energy, because it fit their agenda better.
mm,
These beings are very female suppressive, okay? And because the female contains the love, light, wisdom of the Sophia, and that's in the ancient texts as well. And women contain a larger portion of that, according to the Gnostics, and even Sri Kaleshwar said it, because the womb, they have the womb physically and the
mm,
womb chakra much more strongly than men. They have that power and that light. And so when you've got out of control forces who got out of control with the universe, they got out of sync, they have to do all these manipulations. And one of them is to, again, to diminish the feminine, to suffocate the mother, and all of that kind of thing. So if we are going to have this great resurrection of our planet, this healing of our planet, which is a planet of a lot of unhappiness,
mm,
trauma, misery, dis-ease, it is anything but paradise, right? We need to restore our relationship with the mother and with the feminine energy. So the Marys now are rising up as one version of this on the planet, a version that is very identifiable by many people who were brought up in Christian denominations and so forth. But they even come to people who weren't,
mm,
just like Hindu goddesses come to people who weren't brought up in Hindu traditions, I mean, it's just this cross awakening. Whoever, through their karma or their openness, is available, is awakening and is being contacted. And they are here to help with this balancing, to help with this great healing, and to help with this awakening to this love, light, wisdom that is
mm.
within us, and that we want to live from and radiate out into the world.
Mm. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And the I love that you say that it's not, I mean, these are not, we have like a certain archetypes in Western culture and then the Eastern traditions, but when you look at the lineage, they're so connected, like all the way
That's
back to Ishtar, Inanna, like probably even further back. So there's no difference. And do you know what I love about you? You have this, was it three-quarter Sicilian
yes.
line, which Sicily is, I mean, famous for merging so many cultures. Have you done like a DNA test to see like all the, maybe you have like Egyptian, you have like very
Right.
mixed.
No, I haven't done a DNA test because
Mm,
I don't want anyone to have my DNA
mm,
any more than they might already have my DNA. I'm not exactly sure what they are doing with that DNA of all of us in those tests. I'm not a fan of it. So I go by what is in my heart and soul, what my intuition tells me about my present and past life and lineages, what my skin, body color, you know, skin color, hair, tells me.
Yeah.
And yes, Sicily was a great crossroads, so I probably have quite a bit. And the other quarter was Southern Italian, so it's all that Mediterranean crossroads.
Yeah. There's
Um,
so much.
yeah. So, you know, and so I've been through many journeys with the Greek pantheon, the Egyptian pantheon, and other pantheons to learn about their medicine and their mysteries. And it really, really, they are all connected ultimately. There is a common root to all religions. And that's something that, you know, many people have known for since the beginning of time. And so what you want to do is get down into the root of it and draw your medicine from that place.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about all the way like beyond Earth to Venus, for example, and her cycles. I don't know how that's connected. And you speak about the Pleiades as well, and the dove,
Yes.
and that whole
Yes, yes.
connection.
It's not just an earth-based situation that's going on here with the Marys. It's an interstellar, interdimensional activation. It's pointing us to the reality of humans' relationship to the inner dimensions, the higher or deeper dimensions of reality, the beings and intelligences that inhabit those places, how we actually are part of the angelic races. And that's part of what we are returning to in this whole journey with the Marys and Yeshua and, you know, others. But yes, the Marys are in alliance, as I see it, with the Pleiades and the seven sisters of the Pleiades, who are seven world mothers. They're seven star seeders of humanity. The dove is simply what I received in oracle ceremonies. The dove is simply an image of the angelic woman. Okay. It is a white, seemingly winged being. And so we call it doves from this perspective and this vantage point on 3D Earth. But really it's a being of high level light. Okay, so that's the dove. That's the dove that is Mother Mary, that is the Pleiades, that is what came into Jesus when he had his initiation with John the Baptist through the baptism and, you know, all these sorts of things. So we're talking about being star citizens, that Earth is a part of a whole universe of star worlds, star intelligences, other planets, other kinds of beings. We're all just about starting to get a grasp on this again. Of course, it's all encoded in the ancient stories. All the prophets were working at this level. You know, maybe they were using sacred medicines to open their consciousness like we are today, to just go, oh, I get it now. You know, you might not get it until you have a medicine experience of one kind or another. And then you see beyond a shadow of a doubt, oh gosh, these other realms are real. You know, what is my role in all this? What is my karma? What are my past life memories? What did I agree to do in this lifetime? Right. So the star, understanding the histories of the star nations is also very important in all of this.
Yeah, and it is.
The Star of Bethlehem. Star of Bethlehem is a significator that all of this was connected with something in the astral realms.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus' conception and birth was an advent that was paid attention to by other dimensional forces. In the Magi, those wise men of Iran, or whoever, wherever it was, were hip to it. They're like, oh boy, we are hearing someone was divinely born over there. He's a pretty big deal. Okay. So
Yeah. That has connections with our language, Kurmanji, Manji. I've heard from, because also the Kurdish people are storytellers, so we are not a written people, but one of the things were that they believed that the Magi's were Kurdish because we were also so connected to Earth and the stars. And the ancient Mesopotamian like depictions, the stars are always there, right? And connected to the goddess. And when you spoke about the winged also, many years ago I listened to a book called like Winged Women, and how many stories there are of these beings, female beings with wings, like divine beings in so many cultures. And if you look in the Hindu tradition, how far back that goes, and with the angels, I think most people think that angels are connected to only the Abrahamic traditions, but it's not. It's so old, because even there's an indigenous religion that until today, Kurdish religion, that has like the peacock and the angels as symbols, but it has interwoven with other religions that came into the region. But when we look back, I mean, this is so, it goes beyond 10,000 years, and these beings have always been there. So it's just been, you know, how cartoon is like remade and redepicted and reused. It's the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. And we are those angels. That's what's happening, is we are restoring our wings.
And there has been like this, every time I see a flashing light here to my left, I feel like the angelic realm is here. So this had been happening a lot since we started speaking.
Yeah, so those are your guides, your soul pod is telling you, yes, pay attention, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm super excited for people. I'm excited to listen to the book again, but if anyone wants to check it out, The Secret Life of Mother Mary, Divine Feminine Power for Personal Healing and Planetary Awakening. So it is it will activate and initiate something within us to read the book, I think, because it did for me, and also into the collective. And where can people find it?
Yes, and you know, that is feedback I've been getting from a number of people. Some people have been literally sleeping with the book under their pillow because they feel it gives a transmission. Some people put it on their body, and I'm not saying that I'm, you know, whatever, but I'm just saying that I've tapped into something that's there, that's radiating from this book. It's radiating through the words, through the sound of my voice when you get the audio, and also in the meditations that people can sign up for free. And there's a link in the book that each chapter has a meditation, so you can have an experience of the Marys. These were recorded in my monthly Mary and Magdalene Empowerment Circle, which is still going on. We can maybe put that under the show notes too, so that people could have that ongoing live experience of the Marys in community. It's wonderful. I've been doing it for at least 3 years now. And so some of those have been consolidated and taken and applied to the book. So people are liking that very much. And the book can be purchased wherever books are sold. I recommend having your local bookstore going in and saying, could you please order this for me to support your local bookstores? Next rung would be if you want to support Inner Traditions directly, my publisher, going on to their site, or and then there are the other outlets like Barnes and Noble online and Amazon online, where you can get it in all of its formats as well.
I love that. And the priestess training has already started now in September, right? But can people still enroll after it started?
So no, the temple doors have been closed to that for now, but it's becoming clear that I'm meant to do this again, probably next year, and perhaps ongoingly. It's been very exciting as I've been developing this as we're going along. We just had a baptismal ceremony together using Mama Cow, and it was so profound. Oh my gosh. I mean, talk about where you feel like you've opened a portal to another dimension, or really done something that's going to have positive ripples. That was quite something, you know, understanding what baptism really is, right? And reclaiming that right for ourselves as women. that was important. But again, you know, they can join the monthly Mary and Magdalene Empowerment Circle. And
Mhm.
I recommend people go to sevensistersmysteryschool.com and see what else is going on. I've got my YouTube channel, as you know, Shireen,
Yeah.
you're listening to all of these things,
Yeah.
and many other things that are coming up.
I love that. I will share all the links that we have, and I'm so excited to see what else comes up, because I feel like there is so much coming out from your oracle states and every year, and I feel like time is moving so fast nowadays, but I feel like there's something in the right time for me, and I hope that people do take the time to. I mean, I have not found any books like this. If you truly want to tap into the divine feminine from this angle, and working with Mother Mary, and then you worked so much with Mary Magdalene as well, and merging them. So thank you so much for your work and everything that you do.
You're welcome. It's such an honor. It's such a joy to do this work. It's so fulfilling, and I just love hearing from you and others, when and how this material is helping you and in your own life, in your healing, in your spiritual, you know, popping open further and further. It's just great.
It is. Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope that we can speak again very soon. And thank you to everyone who's listened today.
All right, Shireen, thank you so much.
Thank you.